What's up everyone, I'm the Gentleman. Today I'll be reviewing the horror comedy movie Tusk. This is gonna be a weird one. Kevin Smith is one of my favorite directors and has done some awesome movies, but he also had some misses as well. This movie, however, was something else entirely, based off of one of his podcast episodes that came from a prank ad about a guy inviting someone to stay in his house, but only if he dresses like a walrus. Following so far? After the episode aired, Smith put a Twitter poll asking if this story should be adapted into a movie, and needless to say, the answer was a yes. Why? I don't fucking know, but here we are. Tusk is about a failed comedian turned douchey podcaster named Wallace who goes to Canada to interview the Star Wars kid. I mean the Kill Bill kid. Because his video went viral and Wallace wants to exploit his accident, kinda like Tosh.0. There's also Teddy, Wallace's best friend played by the kid from The Sixth Sense, and Wallace's girlfriend Allie. God, I sure hope they don't end up together. When Wallace gets to the kid's house, he finds out that the kid committed suicide, and instead of feeling bad, Wallace gets mad because he flew out there for nothing and needs to interview somebody. I doubt karma will catch up to him. He comes across a post in a bar bathroom that says something like, "If you want to hear an endless amount of amazing stories and a place to stay, please come to my house. Here's my address," said the spider to the fly. Wallace on the way stops by a convenience store for directions, and here we see the real-life daughters of Kevin Smith and Johnny Depp playing clerks in the movie by Kevin Smith, who made the movie Clerks. Haha, get it? They also did a spin-off movie to this one called Yoga Hosers, but that's a whole different story for another day. He gets to the house and here we meet Howard Howe, a seemingly harmless wheelchair-bound retired seaman. Seaman. Howe then begins to tell Wallace the story of Mr. Tusk, the walrus that saved his life from a shipwreck. It is at this moment that Wallace passes out from a drug-laced tea that Howe gave him. Cue the music! That's when things got out of control. Wallace wakes up in a wheelchair and his leg amputated.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Howe lies and said that he was bitten by a brown recluse spider and that a doctor had to amputate his leg to save his life. Makes sense to me. After some interrogation, Wallace finds out he's lying, but wait, there's more! Well now look who decided to stand up for himself. Howe bitch slaps the shit out of Wallace and then he goes back to talking. Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? He then tells Wallace that he's going to put him in a walrus costume to pay homage to his hero, Mr. Tusk. Yes, you heard right, Wallace will be a walrus. Yes, I'll take one glass of irony please. Realizing that he is fucked, Wallace tries to call Teddy and Allie, but they don't answer their phones. Why? Because they've been together this whole time. Yes, I'll take one shot of predictability please. Wallace leaves Allie a voicemail basically apologizing for being a cheating douchebag and gives a vague description of his location and his torturer's name. Then Howe knocks him the fuck out and continues to mutilate his body for his new fancy walrus suit. Can't wait for that. Allie hears the voicemail and drags her teddy bear and they both fly to Canada to find Wallace. Meanwhile, back at the walrus lair, Howe reveals his dark childhood of being wrongfully placed in a mental hospital and being molested by clergymen. Holy shit. Well, you don't hear this sort of stuff happen at the Church of Satan. Now we finally get to see Wallace in the walrus suit and oh my god, that looks so hilariously bad. I mean, I get that they were going for disturbing, but it comes off as terrible, and what makes it funnier is that Justin Long is really trying to sell this with his walrus sounds. Goddamn, listen to that. Bless his heart. Howe's breaking of Wallace isn't complete yet because not only does he have to look like a walrus, but he has to act like one too. Which means eating a mackerel like a fucking zoo animal. We actually see him conflicted on the decision, but ultimately giving in because Wally's gotta eat. He also makes him learn how to swim like a walrus, and we see that Wallace isn't the first one to be there. Creepy. There's also this fucking weird moment where Howe makes Wallace in walrus costume fucking give him a blowjob. Like, what the fuck is that? Maybe Howe is better off going to a furry party instead. Allie and Teddy come across a detective that tells him to talk to an inspector who is familiar with this kind of case. Enter the best character in this whole movie. Not that there's that many anyway. A random ass cameo by Johnny Depp playing Guy Lapointe, who is hilarious with everything he says, and honestly I wouldn't mind watching the whole movie with him in it. I mean, look at him.
No, I'll tell you something. They don't have these back home, you know.
Meanwhile, Howe tells Wallace that the reason for his walrus obsession started when he killed and ate Mr. Tusk because he gave him a second chance at life. Now the only way to repay him is by reliving that night and giving Mr. Tusk a second chance at survival. How, you ask? A fucking walrus fight to the death, because Howe has his own costume too. Of course he would. This is just so weird to watch. It's like amputee sumo wrestling. Howe tells him that the only way to fully embrace the walrus is to kill him and avenge Mr. Tusk, and then he does. The change is complete, the bad guy won, and he finally got his dream come true. Guy, Allie, and Teddy show up too late and see their friend in full walrus mode, not afraid to die. So Guy points the shotgun at his face, and then We flash forward to 1 year later at the zoo. Allie and Teddy visit Wallace there and bring him some food. She also tells the story that what separates humans from animals is that humans can cry because they have a soul. After they leave, Wallace is shown crying, implying that his human side is still there, and that's Tusk. Wow. This movie felt like a lost Twilight Zone episode at times because of the simple karma story with a weird twist. The acting was fine, and it's funny to see Justin Long turn into something again at the end of a movie like he did in Jeepers Creepers. Though the main problem with this movie is that it doesn't know if it wants to be a pure horror or comedy movie. There isn't a balance unlike in Return of the Living Dead or Killer Clowns from Outer Space, so it gives the movie an identity crisis and makes the audience feel confused as to what they're supposed to feel. I will give Kevin Smith and crew credit for making a movie out of a prank ad, and I'm sure there was plenty of weed to make this sort of an out there kind of story. They basically made a movie out of nothing, but unfortunately, that's all it really was. Just give us Mallrats 2, please. So as always, I'll be back soon with a new movie, or if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this wonderful channel. I am the gentleman, I observe the world, so we can all laugh at it. Bye bye.
Psycho killer.